Meantime, Russia may be reopening a Soviet-era base in Cuba. It was once used to spy on the U.S. During the Cold War, it was part of the largest intelligence operation outside Moscow for gathering radio communications. Jan Crawford is in Washington with the Kremlin's latest maneuver. Jan, good morning.
Good morning, Margaret. Russia closed this Cuban spy base in 2001 under pressure from the United States, but it now appears Russian President Vladimir Putin is applying some pressure of his own. Putin reached the provisional agreement to reopen a Russian Cold War-era spy base while visiting Cuba last week. The base is located in Lourdes, 150 miles from the coast of Florida. It was established by the Soviet Union after the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis brought both nations as close as they would come to the brink of war.
Our resolution will call for the prompt dismantling and withdrawal of all offensive weapons in Cuba.
The base was open from 1967 to 2001 and was a very substantial facility at its peak with about 3,000 people.
As chief of the Cuban Armed Forces in the 1990s, Raul Castro boasted that 75% of Russian intelligence on America was gathered from Brother Fidel's small island nation. In exchange for Russia's return to the base, Cuba will be rewarded with up to $32 billion of debt relief. News of Russia's plan to reopen the base comes at a time of tense Russian-American relations.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And coincides with President Obama's announcement for more sanctions against Russia for refusing to curb separatist violence in Ukraine.
We have to see concrete actions and not just words that Russia, in fact, is committed to trying to end this conflict along the Russia-Ukraine border.
At the time of its closing, the Cuban base was an expensive venture for a Russian government looking to cut costs. That's why reopening and reinvesting in the aging facility is largely being seen as symbolic.
It's a way to demonstrate to the United States that, from a Russian perspective, if the United States continues on the course that it's on in dealing with Moscow, the relationship may return to what it was like at the time that that base was built.
Now, Russia's return to its spy base in Cuba may not draw an immediate response from the White House because the U.S. has been under criticism of its own from the international community for its spying ventures in Europe. Gail?
Got it. Thank you, Jan.